It's Daybreak on Arise News. Time for the press preview. First look at what's in the front pages as they arrive. Let's begin with this day. And it's leading with the election and the crisis in Adamawa. INEC, that's the Nigeria's National Electoral Commission, suspends Adamawa resident electoral commissioner as Binani seeks judicial review of her announcement. That's Binani is the candidate, the All Progressives Congress candidate. And the People's Democratic Party gives the commission 72 hours ultimatum to conclude the rerun poll, and they're demanding weeding out of partisan, corrupt INEC officials. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control approves clinical malaria vaccine for children, and President Buhari counts achievements in oil gas sector and lists PIA as the Petroleum Industry Act's biggest accomplishment. Aviation workers strike forces passengers to trek to airports. Unions block access roads. And federal government effects 45.3 billion reimbursement to states and FCT.
Let's take a look at the Punch. This morning, fuel subsidy, federal government begins 40% pay rise for workers, April ending. Some riders there, government will settle January to March arrears later. That's from the Labour Ministry. Meanwhile, TUC tells federal government increase transport housing allowances too. Leading photos there from Lagos and Abuja showing striking aviation workers as they reject government plea and threaten total shutdown at the airports.
The Guardian. 40% of failed transactions unresolved as e-payments hit 49.4 trillion. Aviation workers reject federal government's plea to disrupt flight operations over COS and welfare. And the NAFDAC grants provisional approval for first malaria vaccine in Nigeria. New wave of kidnappings amid botched Naira redesign policy.
The Daily Sun this morning, aviation strike. Passengers stranded. Airlines suffer losses. Federal government begs union to call off a strike. Meanwhile, INEC hammer falls and wreck over Adamawa Guba results mess.
And this is the Tribune. More knocks for Adamawa resident electoral commissioner as Binani goes to court. To do what exactly? INEC suspends the resident electoral commissioner. Jungle Justice Police Parade suspected killers of driver in Ondo. Passengers stranded as aviation unions begin strike. Ground airport movements. Over now to the international papers. This is the UK PM Rishi Sunak on the investigation by UK ethics watchdog over wives' shares.
Let's take a look at the Guardian UK this morning. Energy firms face curbs and forced meter installations. Meanwhile, watchdog inquiry linked to Sunak family finances. And artist admins winning photo was AI generated.
The Financial Times and treason trial. Putin critic gets 25 years. Savers withdraw nearly $60 billion from 3 US banks as Apple raises heat. In the UK, the latest data released by the Office for National Statistics in the UK shows unemployment rate climbed to 3.8%. And China's gross domestic product rose 4.5% in Q1 2023, beating forecasts.
All right, for the press review, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello, who joins us now. Emmanuel, good morning. Thanks for being here. Let's take a look at this day and another controversy following these elections. INEC has now suspended Adamawa REC as Binani is seeking judicial review of her announcement. Just earlier, as we were just reeling off the headlines, Kenneth was asking what exactly does she want to review. They've now suspended this REC who they said was usurping the powers of a returning officer. And so what do you think is the expectation of Binani really going into this judicial review of what people have now called an illegal declaration?
Some people are calling it a cool speech. I mean, her certain speech. But Nkechi, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
Kenneth, Everyone is looking
to
good.
be back.
Best
Yes.
crew on TV in the morning. Yeah.
Thanks,
Well, yes,
Emmanuel.
and you came straight into the crisis of Adamawa, the Adamawa situation, which it's quite a nightmare right now. But I'm sure Governor, Fintry is having the biggest nightmare of his life faced with this situation, because her going to court yesterday, Binani, the one that was declared by INEC wrongly and fraudulently declared. Kenneth said she's a fraud earlier. Well, yes. Going to court, it's strange to, and everyone is wondering what she wants. But that court case is going to throw a huge spanner in the works, because right now she's asking that, look, only the court can vacate the announcement that was made at her declaration. So that's a huge problem, because yes, there are people who argue that yes, after a declaration, it takes the tribunal, if you agree, you go there to solve the problem. But the larger picture is that a lot of people are saying that INEC itself has said that declaration itself is null and void. So what are you really taking to court? Because it's INEC. So I said it yesterday that this is going to open a new thing altogether. Her base is really making the case for saying that, look, she has been declared, and in the spirit of go to court, which the president himself started, and the INEC boss too, say those things, that every aggrieved person should just head to court. They are now saying that is what exactly Fintry and the PDP should do. They should just go seek redress. But there are people who are saying, just like Kenneth is asking, that look, there's no basis for going to court in the first place. This announcement is like any other person. Someone on the street could have made the announcement. Any other person could have made the announcement and say Binani won. So what are you really taking to court? The body that is supposed to rightly announce you as the winner say that no, it was illegally done, and they are actually dealing with those who made those announcements. But again, it's all about INEC, Kenneth, the crisis of this, of the wreck, of the ROs, of the beavers, of the general problem around INEC in this election season. That is what has culminated into this show of shame, this frustrating situation, this upfront attack on democracy. It is a build-up of all the things that INEC was not able to get right. It's not able to do. There are many cases, many aggrieved people. A lot of so-called winners winners will be heading, will be actually testing their victory in the tribunals and in the courts in the coming weeks. And it's all a testimony to the fact that INEC did not just do a neat job of it. It tried to save itself in this Adamawa situation by quickly, swiftly saying that it was not right. But again, it's as if the horse is bolted out of the stable, and right now you are faced with a serious Frankenstein kind of monster situation, and INEC is going to have to deal with it.
Why does it appear to me, Emmanuel, that there is some form of obsession about the election in Adamawa State? I mean, the first it happened, I took a look at the numbers and compared with other states. One would think that the results, a winner should have been declared in the first run. But now we have a rerun which has been botched. What's the obsession with having the APC take over in Adamawa? Is there gold, or silver, or dollar growing somewhere in Adamawa State?
No, I like the word you use, take over. Yes, I mean, and that's what the APC has been doing. I mean, this whole use of federal might to intimidate, to take over places. Many of the APC victories are anchored on that, the fact that there's this whole idea of takeover. Just go take it. The national chairman of the party was, reported to have said, just get me the victory. I don't care how you get it, just get it. So it's the sort of thing that is playing out in Adamawa State. And, Binani has been linked with the presidency. Some people have denied it, but some people say that the president has a very, unique interest in taking the state, and especially because of his links with the APC candidate there. And then that whole thing about producing the first female governor of the country. Maybe the president or this regime wants to score that kind of goal. But the people are saying that, look, even women folk, I don't know what Nkechi will say to this, even women who are excited about the idea of a first female governor are saying that, yes, we like it, but it has to be done the right way. We don't want to be we want the first female governor, but we don't want to do it in a fraudulent manner and in a manner that casts women as, people that are lawless or are so desperate or want to go out of the box and do it. Not in this manner. They're okay with the whole idea. So maybe again, this government wants to score that, wants to say that, look, this is the government, this is the administration, because in our acceptance speech, Binani said that, look, it's a victory for Buhari as a person because he was able to pull off.
That was a fake acceptance speech.
For her, it's not fake, but for the rest of us, yes, it's fake.
There's been no result in that.
But in making her...
Legally, there was no acceptance speech because there was no election. The election is inconclusive.
Exactly. She made one, and yes, the rest of us will call it all those names. It's fraudulent. It looks like a cool speech, if you ask me. It looks like when, the military take over and then they make those their, infamous speeches of taking over by force. But in that speech, she actually say that it's a victory for Buhari. She was very clear about it. So, to your question about what's the interest, I mean, is Adamawa different from any place? I think it is this because of this unique connection, nexus between the presidency and I think to some extent Binani as a person, and that is why. Then, of course, the issue of empire building, the fact that APC wants to have as much states or as much they can find everywhere. But we're so glad because I've never seen anything, Kennedy, that has been condemned. I mean, all over. I mean, people are condemning the presidential election, but this actually also fits very well in the total condemnation of how things are not supposed to be done. I think at the end of the day, I suspect that the people's will prevail and that INEC will get it right in Adamawa because, I mean, this stands condemn groups, societies, even political parties saying that, no, this is just not
especially
the way to go.
The People's Democratic Party.
Yes.
They've been condemning the situation that's going on in Adamawa State. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper and some good news with a sprinkle of some negativity as well. Fuel subsidy, federal government begins 40% pay rise for workers. April ending, workers will be happy to read about this. But then you have the rider there saying, government will settle January to March arrears later. From the Labour Ministry. That's a bit confusing. If you have the money to increase 40% pay rise, you should definitely have money to pay their arrears. So they're looking forward to 40% pay rise. However, they haven't been paid January to March, and they're not expecting it soon. It says later. Emmanuel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's if you're going to pay, just pay. You don't need all this rigmarole. And it's the little bad news there, like that you say, it's good news mixed with some kind of, it's a mixed pot of good and the bad. The unions are saying that this is not even an increase in salary, that is just increase in allowances. They're saying that so they will forestall any form of increase in the prices of foods, of goods and services, because with that increase, you agree with me that traders in the market would like to increase their thing. So the unions are warning that, look, no, it is not that sort of increase, the sort of thing that you had from the days of Odoji to today, where prices of salaries are increased, almost astronomically. And so that, suddenly leads to all sort of inflation. I think the economists will be weighing on this throughout today, on the impact of this on the cost of living. But so the unions are coming out to say, well, it's not exactly that kind of pay rise. But yeah, you're right, Kechi, it's good news to workers now, that especially now that subsidy will be removed. I think this is timed or primed to coincide with the June date of the removal of subsidy, where, of course, the cost of a litre will go to not less than 750 naira per litre, and all the attendant consequences of that increase begin in the rise of goods and services. So foodstuff is skyrocketing high now. With this increase, you can be rest assured that there will be more of those hardships. So I think the federal government is trying to think outside the box. Apart from those $800 million palliative bailout funds that are there, they're thinking of how to pump more money into people's hands to maybe to sustain us through more hardship. But yes, we're waiting to see how this pans out. But now the unions are saying something else, and the ministry seems to be saying something else. So it's difficult to know where this is going to.
Well, that's it for the press preview today, Manuel. Thank you so much. Let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at OISTV.